Manitowoc County judge rejects a plea deal for Timothy Huscholtz today. He was the legal guardian of his 7-year-old nephew who died in the hospital after being abused and buried in a snowbank by his cousin Damien Huscholtz back in 2018. In our first alert update, Drew Best was in the courtroom today bringing us details on the heated discussion between the judge and the attorneys.
I'm not going to accept this plea agreement. I'm not satisfied that it satisfies the public's interest.
The immediate reaction to Judge Geraldine Dietz's decision to decline the plea deal agreed on by the state and the defense. In the deal, both parties agreed Timothy would plead guilty to 2 counts of child abuse, which would mean that his sentence would amount to the time already served, while dismissing but reading in 4 other felony charges, including murder. Prior to the ruling, the mother of Ethan Huscholtz submitted a letter to the court of disapproval in the plea deal. She writes, quote, "Timothy's actions led to the events that unfolded that day, ultimately causing Ethan's death. Not only did Timothy fail to call 911 for help, he also lied to hospital staff about the circumstances surrounding the incident, which delayed their ability to care for Ethan. Had they known the truth, Ethan still might be here today," end quote. The court taking the same position.
I have an obligation to use my discretion to determine whether the plea agreement is in the public's interest, and I am absolutely not convinced that it is.
The defense and state were then given 30 minutes to negotiate a new plea deal. But then after that 30-minute break, there was no new deal on the table. Instead, another one of Huscholtz's attorneys entered the courtroom via Zoom and further argued for that initial deal.
Mr. Huscholtz would like to enter his guilty plea as to that count, with the rest dismissed and read in, and the prosecution, the state agrees that that is a just result, and the court is saying no simply because of objections of a victim and general feelings that it is not a strict enough punishment.
Judge Dietz rejecting that attorney's argument.
I previously ruled that I'm not going to accept this plea agreement. I gave the parties half an hour to negotiate. I didn't give the parties half an hour to come up with new arguments. I've made my ruling. I need to know how the parties want to proceed. Are we going to start trial on Monday, or are you going to continue to negotiate?
The motion hearing, originally scheduled for Thursday afternoon, will now take place on Monday, pushing the start of the jury trial for Timothy Huscholtz back to Tuesday, February 25th. Reporting in Manitowoc, Drew Best, Action 2 News.
We now have a